have. Wow. Well, you heard from Trevor, right? He's very interesting, guys. It's such a fun to come here and meet each of you. All right, as we already know a little bit about For Life products, right? Hopefully some of you, if not all of you, already tried, right? Tried For Life products and you know some of them at least. Okay, let's get started. Well, so today we're going to have some science tour about For Life products. So we're going to talk about 4 parts. First part, we're going to briefly talk about what is your immune system. We'll talk about those major components of your immune system and how they work for your body to protect your health. And then we're going to also talk about briefly how you can really educate your immune system in the right way during this challenging time. Literally, we just went over COVID pandemic, right? And the second part, we're going to talk about what is For Life transfer factor, and we'll get them and why it is a wonderful ingredient, wonderful product for you to try. And then part 3, specifically we're going to talk about how does transfer factor actually work in your body and for your body. We will also mention a lot of studies that we have done and a lot of patents we have obtained over the past many years. And also one very recent clinical study showing that For Life transfer factor actually activates your immune system within 2 hours. In the last part, I'm going to talk about some of the great For Life products that you can just easily share with others with some of the key touch points. All right, let's get started. Okay, first part, immune system. In this part, you will learn that literally your immune system is located throughout your whole body. And you will also learn it takes care of your body by not only defending against those invaders, but also try to get rid of your internal cells that have gone bad. Another thing is that your immune system not only immediately responds to those threats, but also they can remember those potential health threats, so they can take care of those threats later in a much more quick way. Okay, briefly, your immune system, literally all those parts and many more, those are just some of the very important ones. One thing I want to specifically highlight is the so-called Pierce patches. So don't be too much concerned about the name. This is just a fancy name for your immune system that is located in your digestive system, commonly known as gut. Right. So 70% of your immunity, remember this number, this is something you can easily share on your social media to your followers. 70% of your immune system, 70% of your immunity located in your gut. We all know that healthy gut is very important for your health, right? So you host a variety of those micro probiotic, good bacteria, with very strong protection against any invaders, so you can get rid of them. All right, immune cells. There are many types of immune cells. So those are the 8 major types: neutrophil, eosinophils, basophils, and monocytes, and macrophages, natural killer cells, B cells, and T cells. But it's also important to know there are 2 types of immunity. One is the so-called innate immunity. Those are the immunity that can immediately respond to those threats you're facing. The other one, which is also very important, if not more important, is called adaptive immunity. This is the one that takes care of the memory part, that by producing these antibodies, so your body can remember those potential health threats and get rid of those potential health threats in a later encounter. Now, think about this. One analogy I really like about those two types are the first one, the innate immunity, is like your standing army. Right? Those are the armies that always on the alert to attack anything that want to invade to your body. Right? They work every single second. And this adaptive immunity is like your special force or special task force that are very much adapted to handle very specific invader. So they always know how to handle those invader even in a later time because they already have this memory embedded in their training. Innate immunity primarily involves those 6 major types of immune cells: neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, monocyte, macrophages, and also natural killer cells. On the other hand, adaptive immunity primarily involves those 2 types of immune cells, B cells and T cells. Those are the cells primarily responsible for antibodies. Okay, remember we talked about that the fact your immune system literally located throughout your body. They involve many cells and many organs. The most important 2 tasks your immunity need to do is, first, they need to get rid of those harmful invaders. The second one is that they need to get rid of those cells, your own cells that gone bad because of a variety of reasons, including cancers and other things. Okay, one thing I want to specifically mention is that how do we educate our immune system? So you probably heard a lot of things, but one thing or one important piece of message I want you to remember is that a healthful lifestyle is the key. Again, a healthful lifestyle is the key. As Trevor mentioned, right? Each of you guys have followers of thousands and millions. You got here because of who you are, because of the way you are, right? Because your own lifestyle, the way your dream, your goals. And we don't want to change any of that. At the same time, we want to make sure what we're offering can become part of your own life, part of your own lifestyle as well. And keep in mind, for your immunity, the most important thing is the so-called healthful lifestyle, including, many of you probably already know this, right? Including, for example, getting adequate sleep, manage your chronic stress, make sure you don't have too much stress, right? And then you want to make sure you exercise regularly, preferably on a daily basis. If not, maybe try to shoot like 3 to 5 times each week. And then you want to make sure you eat healthy and balanced diet that rich in colorful vegetables and fruits, just like the breakfast we just had, the lunch we just had, right? And also wash your hands frequently so you don't get sick that often. And also, very importantly, is that make sure you get some very good supplement that is supporting your immune system, such as vitamin C, zinc, vitamin D, and of course, full life transfer factor products, which we'll talk a lot more in later time. Okay. One thing I also want to mention that you probably got a question similar to this from your followers as well. So a lot of people think, oh yeah, I need to boost up my immunity, or I need to make my immunity stronger. There's nothing wrong or nothing bad for that specifically. However, I don't think that's the right or the best way to do it for your immunity, because literally, your immune system is highly sophisticated and is also very balanced network. Right? We talk about those different types of cells, talk about different types of immunity, and active and balanced is always the key. Neither overactive or non-active is a good thing for your immunity at all. So think about, it's easy to understand that non-active immunity is really bad for yourself, right? Because if your immunity is not working, all those bugs can get into you, make you really sick. That's very easy to understand. On the other hand, if your immunity is overactive, That's also a bad thing, maybe even more dangerous thing. A lot of examples. One common consequence of overactive immunity is autoimmune diseases. Yeah, most of the, if not all, of the autoimmune diseases are primarily because of overactive immunity. So your immunity doesn't recognize what is normal and healthy and what is bad and dangerous. So they just try to get rid of everything. That's what primarily causes autoimmune disease. So again, using the analogy about the army, right? Think about a overactive immunity like your army that went so chaotic that it turns against its own people. What the consequence would look like, right? So it's going to definitely hurt your body. So that's why we said you always want to make sure you have a strong, active, but balanced immune system. So here's the key word. All right. In summary, what we talked about in the past 10 or 15 minutes is about that the immune system is literally located throughout your body. And there's involved many cells, many different types of tissues and organs. It does a very important job to protect your health, your body. And we learn about the innate immunity and adaptive immunity, right? So not only your immune system can immediately respond to those threats, but also it can remember those potential health threats so they can take care of those threats later in a more efficient and quicker way. And also, I want to emphasize this again. A healthful lifestyle is the key. Make sure whatever the products we're recommending, we're going to talk about those in later. Make sure this can be part of the healthful lifestyle. Just like For Life will become part of your own lifestyle. Alright, that's about part 1. Part 2, we will briefly talk about what is transfer factor, specifically what is For Life transfer factor. For Life transfer factor, hopefully you learned a little bit about this already. So For Life transfer factor is primarily composed of small bioactive peptides and proteins that were extracted from cow colostrum and chicken egg yolks. They are made by immune system of those animals to protect their offspring. At the same time, they can be used for those, not only those species, but also other species, including humans. It's 100% safe for human consumption. Why is that? Not only we have a lot of studies showing that they're 100% safety, but also think about it from the historic usage point, right? Cow colostrum, which is a type of milk, right? And chicken egg yolk from chicken eggs, both of them have been common foods for humans for hundreds, even thousands, more than 1,000 years. So they're very safe, 100% safe. Another thing, as Trevor briefly mentioned, that For Life have patented technology to specifically protect our products, or formulas, or processes who actuate this transfer For Life transfer factor from those cow colostrum and chicken egg yolks. Another thing is that For Life science teams is always on the pursuit of further understanding about the For Life transfer factor science and immune system science. Okay, we briefly mentioned about this. Let's go a little bit deeper about how and why transfer factors are made. So think about this. So actually, we have documented history of the immune transfer in both mammals and other animals like birds, chickens, for over 100 years. So there have been a lot of written literature about this wonderful immune transfer, meaning mothers transfer immunity to their offspring. This is very important. Think about that. Because when newborns were born, like for example, babies or like new chickens will first come to the world, their immunity were immature and naive. They have never been exposed to any potential health threats yet. So they needed some kind of protection. For cows, those immune transfer was happened by placenta during the pregnancy, or the cow colostrum during the lactation process. For those birds, including chickens, this process is happened by the so-called the egg. Right? They have this immunity embedded in the egg. So as those small chickens will hatch, they will get this immunity immediately from the egg itself. So those are very critical for the survival of the new offspring because their immunity is immature and naive. This immune transfer is critical, very important. This is the key message. I want you guys to remember that. And also, one thing, we mentioned this, both of those have been used for hundreds and thousands of years. They're 100% safe. We also done a lot of study to show that transfer factor is 100% safe. And another common question some of you might be wondering is that how can those transfer factors survive your stomach acid? Remember we talked about those transfer factors are peptides and proteins. So when they get into your gut, it is true that some of them, the bigger ones, might be break down by the acid in your gut. However, keep in mind, some of them are very specific bioactive peptides. Those peptides are still small enough to survive this environment and get into your, remember the one we talked about, the Peyer's patches? So Peyer's patches are where they're really located, right, in your gut. And those transfer factors are still able to survive and get there and trigger a series of immune signaling so they can still work on your body and do their job. And we will explain how this transfer factor happen and how to work in your body. But here's the keyword that transfer factors are able to survive stomach acid and get into your immunity in your gut, specifically the main Peyer's patches. Another beauty is that you do not need a lot of transfer factor for them to work. You saw a prior slide from Trevor's presentation that each capsule has trillion of transfer factor. Right? Vast majority will be broken down somehow by the acid in your gut, but there's still a lot can be able to survive, and you don't need a lot to make the transfer factor do their job. They will do very well job in your system, as we're going to talk a little bit. Right, summarizing what I just briefly mentioned. Again, transfer factor is comprised of peptides and proteins from cow colostrum and chicken egg yolks. It's made by the immune system and for the immune system. It's 100% safe for human consumptions. We have patented technologies to protect our technologies, not only the process, but also our formulas and our products. We are always on the pursuit to further understand transfer factor science and immune system science. All right, part 3. Hopefully you guys still with me. All right, you guys are amazing, right? Doing great. All right, good. Let's talk about how does transfer factor work for your body. So, in short, there are 3 keywords I want you to remember that. Now, recognize, respond to, and remember. In other words, for life transfer factor, educate your immune system to better recognize, respond to, and remember potential health threats. And why do we see this? Because we have done a lot of studies over the past many years to prove that. Specifically, we've done a lot of studies showing that transfer factor modulates your immune responses. It also stimulates natural killer cells activity, macrophages and cytokines levels as well. It also suppresses T helper cells when the T cells are overactivated. It also suppresses cytokines in overactivated T cells. Here's related to balance, right? And also increase production of immune memory antibodies. Those are the molecules that take care of the memory part, remember those potential health threats. Now, of course, we talk about the pyropus patches, right? We talk about they will be able to survive your gut environment and still work in your gut, and we have studies showing that. Literally, for life transfer factor, literally your immunity starts in your gut. Alright, you remember this number, right? 70%. Right? This is a very important number. You can easily show with our 70% of your immune system is located in your gut. And we know that the transfer factor might bind to immune receptors inside your gut, specifically the so-called pyropus patches, and they will trigger a series of immune signaling that help your immune system to do whatever they need to do. Here's the very recent number we just checked. Trevor shared some numbers. That number probably a little bit lower than the real number, so this is the most updated number. We have 81 patents globally now. Yeah, that's really something, right? 81, 17 US patents and 65 international patents, and of course with dozens pending. Patents are very important to us. Patents, as we mentioned earlier, not only protect our technologies, our processes, our formulas, our products, but also it protects our business, right? So we mentioned earlier, For Life is a solid business with 25 years strong history. Patents protect our business today, tomorrow, and many years to come. For Life is a generational company. So the research and science and the patents we develop are here to protect us, not only for our products business, but also make sure we always maintain as a leader in the transfer factor science, in the immune system science. Over the past many years, we have done a lot of research, and whenever possible, we try to publish them. So if you want to find out what are the most publications we have done in the past years, feel free to scan this QR code or go to this link. You will find out the studies we have done in For Life. Okay, since we're talking about those studies, the science part now, I feel like this is a good time for us to play a video before we go to the next part.